Well, welcome back to the show. Get celebritized, everyone. I am your host, Aurea McGarry, and today I am really excited to introduce you to someone I've known probably over 10 years now, who is such an inspiration and mentor to me, and I had to bring her to you. She is a phenomenal, successful woman, humble as the day is long, precious, sweet, super successful. Did I say that? And I love giving women hope that there are powerhouse girl bosses out there making waves, making things happen, making their dreams come true, raising amazing children, having wonderful relationships, husbands, family. And I'm going to bring it to you right now. But first, I want you to know something about her. She is a eight-time Emmy Award-winning news anchor and investigative reporter. She's a member of the Alpha sorority. She's a longtime Atlanta resident, well known in the local television market. I have the honor and privilege to serve with her on the Southeast Emmy Award Board of Governors. She's also a prestigious and honorary trustee. She is a leader. She is all things, everything wonderful. She's also been on some TV shows you might have heard of. And we're going to ask her about how'd you get on those shows. So without any further ado, let's bring Karyn Greer up to the show. Karyn Greer, welcome.
Oh, my friend, Aurea, thank you so much. Yes, I've known you for decades now.
I
Kind of
know.
puts our age out there.
Gosh, seems like forever, but then it seems like yesterday at the same time.
It
And
does.
you were one of the first people that, reached out to me, smiled to me, just brought me in when I was a new baby, like 2009 or so, probably before, when I started submitting to the Emmys. I started jumping into television when I don't have a vocal cord nerve and I shouldn't be able to talk, but I just started doing it anyway. And you were always so kind. And I was like, wow, there's Karyn Greer, but you never treated me like you were some big celebrity, even though to me and so all of us here in Atlanta, you are such a big celebrity. So
Can I
thank you
start
for
with
that.
you've always been fabulous. Let's not lose that. And you are an inspiration to all of us as well. I mean, it's one of those, as we all say, never say never. Don't say you can't. You got to keep going, and you got to reach for your dreams. And you've been a great person to show that to all of us. So I thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Karen, so much. Well, you are a hugely successful woman in business, and my listeners and viewers love to hear the nuts and bolts that a lot of people skate over, like, oh, I was here and I had a dream and now I'm here. It's that in the middle, that what could have derailed you? Who helped you? How did you meet that person that helped you? So first, tell us a little bit about where you are right now, because you've got a new job. You've been, very successful. Tell us where you are, and then I want to backtrack a little bit about how you got here.
Man, after decades of being in this business, and I don't know, for those who are looking and watching, you can maybe see the background behind me, a big number two. I am in Atlanta at WSB TV. On the wall to my left is a big banner that says number one news team in the country.
Woo!
Privilege and an honor to be here with all of these amazing journalists. I'm so excited. I kind of, tremble as I talk about it, because this is really a dream come true to be here. Everybody has watched and known this prestigious organization for decades. And I've worked at two of the other stations in town, which have also been great stations, great people. But this is really the pinnacle for me of my career. So I am so excited.
And we're excited to have you because you were on the air, a news anchor, for so many years. And that's how I knew you. It's like, when you see those news anchors out and about, it's like, oh my gosh, there they are. And that's what you were to me. And then you weren't on, and now you're back on. So tell us about what you're going to be doing this fall, coming back on. And you also did some investigative reporting, because you were doing some of those true crime stories.
Which I love. I will say, let me just start with, Aurea, that, when I came here many moons ago, like 3 decades ago, I was at WGNX TV, which at the time was not a CBS affiliate. We were just a station here in town doing a 10 o'clock newscast. I stayed there for 10 years. The station was bought. And, it was interesting because the new management had decided they wanted to go in a different direction. But I hate to say they didn't tell me. There was a woman who was an anchor nationally, Jane Robelo. A lot of people may remember her. she called and talked to me. She was in New York doing CBS This Morning, and she said, "Hey, your new bosses are here in New York talking to me about coming to work at your place." And I said, "That's awesome," because we were friends. I said, "We're going to finally get to work together." She said, "That's what I thought." And they said, "No, you're going to replace her."
Oh
Um,
no.
so that's my first thing that I want
Wow.
people and women to know. We've got to support each other. Had she not told me, I never would have known until it was too late.
And don't you feel like that was, I would think back in the day that was more unusual for a woman to have your back? Because remember how they used to talk to us, how it's in show business, like it's a cat fight and everyone for themselves and look out.
Exactly.
And for that to happen, I'm so impressed.
Oh, she's fabulous to this day.
Ah,
And
that's
she
building
came in
relationships.
and she became the anchor, and they wanted me to stay and train her. And I said, no, this is not what you want to do. Well, you can take any other job, if you want to do mornings or if you want to do weekends. Well, to me, the writing was on the wall that you didn't appreciate what I was doing at that point. And they said, well, no, uh, every station in the city has a Black female and a white male. We want a white female and a Black male. And I said,
Oh
okay.
man.
Oh yeah, this was all to
Oh,
my face. And
right.
I'm 20 something years old. I'm like, oh, okay. So I called the news director then at 11 Alive, and I said, "Hey, do you have any jobs over there?" And he said, "Jobs? You don't need a job. They'll never get rid of you over there." I said, "Well, things are changing, and I'd like to move. I may be out of luck in a couple years." So he created a position for me. It was awesome because I went to the bosses at 46 and just said, "Hey, I want to be released from my contract, and I don't want to non-compete in here in case I decide to work again." Didn't give them an idea that I'd had a job
Okay.
lined up. So they let me out of the non-compete. I left the station on a Friday, was anchoring for Brenda Wood on Monday across the street. And they, I'm sure, were not very happy with that. But you have to take care of you, is my second message to people. You have to be prepared. You have to think ahead. You can't be woe is me. You can't,
Right.
be totally upset, which I will say I was. I just had a baby. I
Oh,
thought, what's wrong with me? Have I gained too much weight? And, part of the story that, Aurea, I like to tell women is one night after dinner, after I just learned this news, I went to a restaurant that was right up the street from the station on Briarcliff Road. And I was sitting there and I must have been looking very um, depressed, very just out on a river by myself floating. And this gentleman came up to me and he said, "Hey," he said, "God told me to just come over and tell you everything's going to be okay.
oh my
I know it
gosh.
doesn't seem that way right now, but you're going to be fine. 15 years from now, you're going to laugh at this whole thing." And I'm looking up at him going, I didn't ask for company. I'm thinking to myself, but I loved the message. And he said,
Yeah.
"I'm talking to somebody on the phone that wants to talk to you." And she got on the phone and she said, "This is just a step in the road for you. You are going to do great things. You are going to look back at this as just a step for your next bit of greatness. This is a breakthrough for you, whether you see it now or not."
Mhm.
And then I gave him the phone back. He went on to tell me he was there at the restaurant waiting to meet someone, hoping that he was about to have a breakthrough. He'd been trying to do some things and had lost all of his money, was living in his car. And he'd hoped this was going to be the thing that changed his life. So I said, "God bless you. I'm praying for you." Didn't see him again. He left. I left. We didn't exchange numbers. When I tell you it was 14 years later, and I saw him on television talking about his life and what he was about to do and these new studios, it was Tyler Perry.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Drop
Not
the ball.
everybody knows that story, but
I've
yeah,
never heard that story.
and
Serious?
I had never seen him anymore. I just knew his name was Tyler. He introduced himself, but I had forgotten about it.
Oh
And
my
my youngest
gosh.
child was Tyler. So I was just like, oh, that's cool. And then when I looked up in the newsroom and I saw his face, you've got to think, I was like, I know him.
Oh
So I
my
found
God.
a number, called him, said, "I'm so happy and proud for you. Oh my gosh." He's like, "What are you doing?" I told him. He said, "Didn't I tell you?" I said, "Can I interview you? I need to come over and interview you." He said, "Absolutely." So we have remained acquaintances since
Yeah.
then. And, he invited me to his big studio
Yeah.
opening.
We
And
saw that. That was awesome. You're there. Me and my daughter were like, she's with Tyler Perry and Beyonce. You know,
It's
you're
just a
amazing.
dream. It's a dream, and I know for all that I have gotten, everything that has come my way, it is truly all God because it just
Um,
the fate.
I love that you say that too. And you know, when you were at your, everybody has downturns, and now I know everybody's gonna rewind and replay this because now that you dropped the bomb, and that was Tyler Perry. It's like, wait, what did she say? And they're gonna go back and listen to the story again. But I love that you've had in these stories you're telling me, you've had women that have had your back. You've had a gentleman that's said, God has a message, and I'm here and you're here, and then you went your separate ways, both to be successful. Sometimes people think we just come out like this. You just, there you are interviewing Beyonce. You were at Tyler Perry's red carpet, gosh, just a year or two ago. We're all like, wow, look at her. And we don't know these backstories, which is why I love bringing people like you on the show, Karyn, to say, there's a backstory. I didn't just wake up and just end up on the red carpet. I've had those downtimes. And when you told me just now about, we need a white woman and a black male to do this. And then here you are as a woman, which I don't know if you heard yourself. You still were talking to yourself about, am I gaining too much weight? Why do women, we always go to that as well? Hey, I do that all the time. So, and here he is saying, was flat out honest with you. So you're losing a job because of our looks. You can't change the color of your skin, and we always trying to change our weight or our appearance for the job. Do they do that to men? Well, racism, yes, they do, but not the the weight and the looks. So talk to the women, because was this always something you wanted to do? And what is one thing? I know your faith is so strong, and I love that. But when that happened, they look you in the face. Talk to the girls that are thinking, I'm scared for that to happen to me, or what if that happens to me? What do you tell them to get through that when it looks like people are discriminating against you, whether it's a woman or minority or whatever it is?
Well, it's so different today than it was, back in our day.
Yeah.
I will say first, I grew up, south side of Chicago, only child. My parents always told me you can be whatever you want to be, which I loved. I know my dad would, got the first video camera, and he'd take me and we'd do newscasts, and he knew that was my dream. We'd get a big box, TV box, and I'd be in it doing, a newscast as an anchor, because I grew up, in Chicago watching, some women,
Right.
Asian women, and then at the network levels, a couple Black women, Carol Simpson, watching some women that looked like me. And I thought, I can do that too. Went to the University of Illinois, had a professor though who told me, you'll never be a news anchor. You're too soft, you're too this, you're too that.
I always think about what they said to Oprah. You're not right for television.
Exactly.
We gotta stop listening to people.
You
I don't know why
can't
they keep
listen.
telling you that.
And he came from CNN, so he thought he knew everything. I
Mm-hmm.
wish I could find him now, but
I'm sure he knows who you are.
and what he told me. I was just determined. It was great. I mean, I interned when I was in college at the NBC station, or ABC station there, the number one station. Then got a job at the NBC station. But I had gone home. I graduated, went home, and was sleeping and relaxing, feeling good about my graduation from the University of Illinois. And my mother knocked on the door one day. She goes, "Oh no, you're not going to sleep all day on this. You have a degree. You're going to get a job. And if you don't have a TV job, then you're going to be a substitute teacher." She was an administrator in the Chicago public school system. So I had to go take the test. I was a sub. And when I tell you those kids ran over me, I knew teachers deserve so much more.
No kidding. They really do.
The hardest job I'd ever had. And then the news director called me back and just said, "Hey, we got a job in Champaign. Come on back."
I love it. I love it. So you stayed determined, but you did whatever it took to make the living and maybe try a side, plan B. But that plan A was obviously your calling. So what is your biggest lesson then, as people are thinking, well, maybe it's not going to happen? What is your biggest lesson to stay in the industry or keep that dream alive for anyone of any age, for any business they're looking to, thinking, well, maybe it's not right for me. So many people have told me no, or the jobs are scarce these days, whatever industry they're in. What would you say to them?
Never give up, number one. Never say what you can't do. It's funny, I was just reading something on LinkedIn that someone posted about how, Oprah, how old she was before she became successful, how old some people were, and they kept getting slapped in the face and told, no, this was not going to work. You just got to keep persevering. I mean, I was in some of my deepest, darkest days at some of these points. I left, went to Channel 11. Channel 11 was sold. Things were done there. I was offered a new contract after being there 15 years that was half Well, let me just be honest, like
Mm.
60%
Wow.
less than what I was making. And I know that was, it's the business of it. You can't
Hmm.
be angry, you can't be upset, but I just knew I had two boys getting ready to go to college, and that just was not going to work for me. So, leaping on faith, I just left. Didn't know where I was going, what I was going to do. And it was one of my darkest moments,
Yeah.
and one that I hated getting out of bed. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't want my kids to see that.
Right.
But every day I would go to mass. It was around Lent, and I would pray, and I would, go through the church and, sit at each one of the statues and say a prayer. It was a reawakening for me of what I needed to do in my life, and that there was more here to do. So at that point, I went back to CBS 46. They offered me a job to come back. Really didn't have anything, but they made it work. And that's the big thing I want to say to you. A lot of
Yeah.
times you may look online for a job, there won't be a job.
Hmm.
You need to
Good
always make
relationships.
connections, great relationships that you can pick up a phone and call someone, and
I
see if
love
they
that. You got your very important relationship with God, and then your relationship with people. It isn't about looking in the classifieds anymore. It's about building those relationships, doing the right thing, like your friend did. Who, I'm sure she could call you for a favor any day of the week now, should something happen to her. Because the one thing you can count on working for other people, whether it's a news station, whatever, is that things will change. Especially in this day and age, more than ever, nobody's working those 30 years at the same company, getting the gold watch at the end anymore. You never know if you're going to get a pink slip, and everybody is vulnerable if you're working for somebody else. So resilience, I see, is so important, and building relationships along the way. And I always say, be nice to the people on the way up, because you're going to meet the same people on the way down. And we all,
Amen, sister.
yeah,
Amen. And
yeah.
that's always been something, I know you believe, because I know how you are, and I believe. I just find it hard to work with these people who are, rude and judgmental, and,
They're not happy.
can't give you, constructive criticism, but want to beat you down. I just look at those people and I just kind of smile. I've got to learn, though, my face tells everything.
Right, it
So
does.
I've got to stop just kind of going, are you crazy?
But mean people stink, and I try to give them grace, and maybe they're having a bad day. But if it's an ongoing character trait, then I choose not to be around them as well. But I know you can't when you're working in a close newsroom and other places. But you always rise above. You attract such great people because you are great people. So before we get to your TV cameos and things people want to know about, which is so fun, because I know a lot of people watch that are in the theater world, acting, and very creative. Because I'm a right side brainer, and I attract right side brainers that want to entertain and be on the stages to do fun things. And it's a tough business, of course. So, but first, I want to know all of this that you're telling us, your faith, your tenacity, your kindness, you're building relationships, your time with people like Tyler Perry and Beyoncé, and doing these red carpets because you built those relationships. Again, you didn't just show up one day and, I hope I get that job. That was a relationship that was built, and then there you are. What lessons do you think, or have you asked, that your two handsome sons have learned, and what do you think is poured over to them to make them the successes they are today?
I tell you, I feel sorry for these boys because they've grown up in this business, both of them, in my belly as I was doing these jobs. And it's funny. I thought they didn't like when people would come up to us at the table when we're out having dinner, or when I'm taking them through, Six Flags, and people want to take a picture. I thought they probably hated all that. But my oldest son, Kyle, graduated from Wake Forest University, is at Bounce TV, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
is in promotions over there, which, interesting note, Bounce TV is a partner here to WSB TV. So
Which
we
is a
kind of
partner of
feel
ABC, right?
family, which is a
Mhm.
family partner of ABC and Hulu and all of that good fun stuff.
And he was with
So
you at the Emmys, wasn't he? Was he the one that was with you at the Emmys?
the older one, no.
It was the
The
younger one.
older one, no. It
Okay.
was the baby who just
Baby.
graduated from the University of Georgia in journalism.
Ooh.
And he is what we call multimedia journalist, which means he writes, shoots his own stuff. He's a reporter in Macon, Georgia.
Look at them all following mama's footsteps. I love that. You think your sons are going to follow, dad's footsteps, but look at the strong girl power right here. You're two amazing, handsome, smart, and they are so handsome and so smart. You all have to follow her, Google her, watch her social media. What a great family, and your husband as well. And they followed mama in her footsteps.
Yeah, he's in engineering and all that stuff. Those numbers, we just aren't good at that.
They got your journalism. I love that. I love that. That's so cool. You must be so proud that they're able to be in the business with you, and you can mentor them and teach them as well.
Very excited, and I know they've seen it all. They've seen the ups and the downs. So.
And it's funny, what you were thinking they didn't like, they really loved and emulated. And I want moms to really hear that, because whatever you're doing, whether you're working late hours being a teacher or a nurse, and you're thinking your kids at home resenting it or whatever, and they grow up to be that teacher and that nurse, because they hear those stories when you come home of the kids you helped or the lives you saved, and you're feeling guilty as a mom because you're gone out of the house, but your children might be seeing that, wow, I love what mom does. Wow, mom's saving lives, or mom's working with these kids. I want to be a teacher too. And we always see the bad in our stuff, like, oh my gosh, the guilt as a mom, but our kids are seeing the other side. Look what mom's doing. And so talk to your kids is my tip, is ask them what they're feeling, ask them what they like about what you do, what they don't like, or if they have questions. And I love take your daughter to work day, take your son to work day. Those things are so fun, because then I can really see where you are and put those hours away from them into perspective and see, oh, this is cool. Who knows? They may want to do it too.
And your beautiful daughter is following in your footsteps, really, pretty much as well. I love that. I mean, I love
adore you.
To events. She is, oh my God. Your kids are just amazing. And your hubby as well. I mean, just a fabulous family. So you are a great reflection of, what we all hope to have.
And, it comes from you. I've had many, many guilty times when I was a single mom and just really make it with Angel, and she's seen it all. And now Alyssa coming up. And I've just had that attitude. Mary Kay Ash taught me this, let them go through life with you. Life isn't going to be easy for them every day, and it's not going to be easy for mom. And instead of trying to be perfect and who wants your mom there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week anyway? So when you're out, you're trying to earn a living. That's good. You're showing them how to do that, because kids do what you do, not what you say, is what I always say. And going back to talking about people that have achieved greatness later years, Mary Kay Ash, I mean, an amazing woman for business. That business company has been in business over 55 years. She didn't start that company, that huge network marketing company, whether you like it or you hate it. It's huge and successful and amazing for women. She started when she was 45 years old. And she had a very rough childhood. She was making soup at 7 for her dad, who had tuberculosis. She did not have easy street. And I think of Mark Victor Hansen, whose Chicken Soup for the Soul's books were denied dozens and dozens of times until he finally got the one publisher that said yes. Same with probably Harry Potter and all the things, all the people. And making it personal. I didn't win my Emmy Award until I had no vocal cord, told I'd never speak again. I was 48 years old, certainly wasn't a size 2. I was balding during the show when I filmed it because of all the chemo and everything that happened to me. So I wasn't what I thought I needed to be. Young, cute, thin, a degree, none of that. And like you, Karyn, just faith that God wanted me to tell these stories. I didn't even know there was an Emmy to win. But it all happened in God's timing, and just keep going, one foot in front of the other, because I believe every woman and man is exactly what they need to be today to accomplish whatever God wants them to accomplish. And today might be an up day where you're on top of it, but it might be a down day. But that doesn't change your purpose and your legacy in your life. And with that, we've got to ask you a fun question. You was on Stranger Things. On some other TV shows too. So how do you do that? You're such a professional journalist. You do crime stories. And here you are, I'm watching TV and I'm like, stop the camera, stop the show, pause. I think I saw Karyn Greer. She is on Stranger Things.
Because Aurea texted, did I just see you? As everybody else, Bird from the Bird Show, and people are texting me the whole time.
You can't fool us in that 70s outfit. But truly, how do you do that? Because some people want to break into show business. Is it again about relationships? I'm sure you don't have time to try out for that stuff. So what happened?
Definitely. I mean, when my boys were small, I had them signed up to an agency. They did some modeling and some print work and TV work, and their agent, who I love, Joy Purvis, has always been for us.
Very well known here.
I get a lot of calls for news anchors. You think you want to do this on the side? Give me one of your headshots. And when I tell you, I've done the show Savannah, I've done Season in Purgatory movies. She's had me working for years. And that Stranger Things was shot 2 years ago.
Gosh, it had the
And
pandemic. Jeez.
yeah, I mean, she'll send my headshot and they'll look at it. And right now in this business, you self-tape. So you tape at home,
Mhm.
send it, never thinking you're going to get something like that.
Mhm.
And they pinned me, they wanted me. And I was on set one day and we knocked out my line. It was so much fun. And there's another one coming up pretty soon that we shot back then as well, a movie with, well, I won't say. There's something coming up soon.
Okay.
And I don't know
Tell me
when
off
it's going to
camera.
be out. And so it's fun to be able to just be you and be a journalist
Mhm.
in a lot of these things and they love me because they're like, she can do that one take because that's what I
Yeah,
do.
exactly. Why
Having
wouldn't you get a journalist to play journalist
actor,
if you can?
right. Having an actor do it, it's, they don't know that,
Mhm.
like, I'll tell them, we would do this, or, we would have it this way. And they're like, thank you. Great, great. Let's do it. So yeah, it was kind of fun seeing it. I mean, people saw me before I knew it was on. So I had to call my
Probably
mom.
me. Oh my gosh. I was like, you can't hide from me. I see you. And I really, because I figured, well, you would have told us. I sit on the board of governors with you. You'd think I would have known. Our vice president, Mark Patet's always doing movies, always saying, oh, I'm up for this one, I'm up for that. So we're always talking about it's a big thing in Atlanta because it is the hub for movies and TV. One thing I love about it. And and you hadn't said a word. I'm like, why didn't she tell us?
Because I
I know.
didn't know if it was going to be on the floor. I mean, I don't talk
Exactly.
about
You never know. You never know. Well, Karyn, I really feel the theme and the thread of this that I didn't know was going to be part of this story is you really showed us that above all, it's relationship building. So I really want the listeners and viewers to build relationships in your industry, whatever your industry is. Karyn, you're a perfect example. You've got this industry, now you have friends with agents. So, if a part arises, you have something fun on the side. How fun is that?
it.
Do you still do the cold cases before we wrap up the show?
I do. I'm actually, and let me just say, I didn't get into I'm here once again at WSB. I don't go on the air until September. And because I had to sit out a non-compete of 6 months after leaving my last job.
Oh, okay.
So, to give you that little tidbit of information. So I've literally just started coming into the newsroom before I was, out enjoying life and having that time off
Doing
that you never
TV.
have right when you're in this business. And it was wonderful. But I'm back in the building now and I'm able to go shoot some stories. I'm shooting one on Friday. I've got like 4 lined up for when I get to debut in September. So yeah, it's a couple cold cases. I won't say what because your competitors will see it.
Of
Everybody can
course,
go
of
after
course.
everybody in the country and they'll beat me to my own stories. So, but I've
No.
got a couple coming up. So yeah, I still love those. Those
I think
stories are
that's
just amazing.
They are. I've definitely told we've got my dad's murder is a cold case. It's not Atlanta, but he was murdered in 1977. It's never been solved. Shot 3 times in the head and
Crazy.
multi-millionaire. So we have to talk because maybe that'd be a cold case for you.
Yes, yes. We've talked about that, and I will
Yeah,
talk to
it's an
Cheryl.
old one, but you always think about that. So I'm glad you're doing cold cases because there's always a family saying, I wonder, I wonder. And when it's long gone and cold and nobody's thinking about it anymore, there's still family members that it will never go away. You still
And there's a
wondering.
killer out there. I mean, I will say we
That's
were
true.
lucky
Yeah.
to get one family some justice
Mhm.
and able to rest because we had the GBI do an age progression sketch of what this person would look
Ooh,
like,
that's cool.
and we're able to get DNA done that wasn't done 20 years ago, and
Yes.
so the cousin 3 times removed from some of that genealogy stuff, and we were able to nail who this suspect was who brutally raped, murdered, shot a
God.
14-year-old girl in the head, killed her behind her apartments as she was going to school.
Oh my
Um,
God.
but the
Wow.
problem was
No
he
proof.
died.
Oh.
He had a sort of cancer. It was the Nicole Smith case, and her mom every year on her anniversary of her death would go to her graveside and say, "We're gonna get justice for you, baby. We're gonna do it." And every year we would, meet with her and try and get new leads. So we were able to do things that now 20 years ago are being, done to help move these cases forward. And that's what I love about, what's going on now.
Yeah,
Now,
I
now.
love right. How exciting to be that to be able to go back. Who would think that you can now go backtrack and retroactive get some of those cases? Is that your favorite type of news piece to do? What's your favorite all-time topics to do?
I love those because it helps other families.
Mhm.
And I still love entertainment stuff. I still love doing something because Atlanta's so
Oh,
entertainment heavy. But anything that helps a community, I love consumer things. I love whatever you give me. I'm going to enjoy it if I get to get out in the community. I used to do those try before you buy it things. Those were fun, going in people's houses and trying out these things you see on TV. Does that really work? I love it all. I love this business.
We love you, and Atlanta loves you, and the nation loves you. I know you're not just an Atlanta star. So many people know and love you. And like I said, I'll never forget my daughter because she adored you too. When she said, "Did you see Karyn Greer with Tyler Perry and Beyonce? I need to touch her now because she touched Beyonce." Like it's like you're our family. Like, how do we know our sister was over there and she didn't take us? It's so
Oh,
much
when I tell you, let me just tell you, Beyonce was so sweet.
fun.
They were down eating like 2 levels down, and Mr. Perry said, "Let everybody eat and enjoy themselves." And I had taken my son, and he goes, "Mommy, let's go see Beyonce."
Yeah,
And
you think like let's go
standing
see
up
Beyonce.
talking, and I said, "Do you mind if we take a picture with you?" And she's like,
Oh,
"No, come on." She was so sweet.
oh, I
I
love to
love
hear
it.
that.
Yeah.
I love to hear that. And that was at the Tyler Perry studio opening, if y'all are wondering, here in Atlanta. What was it, like a year or two ago, maybe two? Because he probably before the pandemic, because during the pandemic, he
It's
opened
been
up
like
his own
3
hospital
years.
area, really ran
Yeah.
it well.
It's been
So
like 3 years. It's been a
wow,
while.
that
Yeah.
long, 3 years. Haven't spent. What is
You
before we close up? Because I'm going to ask you my last question about that I always close up with. But before we do that, what was one thing you have learned from Tyler Perry and or Beyonce? Some of the famous people that you know, because I love hearing that in real life they're nice because you get so many horror stories and people that don't run with the celebrities or maybe listening to the wrong type of news or you never know what to listen to. But they're real people and so many of them are nice. So many of them, nothing is true in the tabloids. Tell us something. Tell us some good news about like Tyler, Beyonce, or maybe a tip you've gotten that really resonated that came from somebody like that in the celebrity world.
Well, if you just look at them, look at the people who are successful and look at their backgrounds, look at where they've been. And, Beyonce wasn't always just Beyonce. She was in a group, Destiny's Child, with
I
some other
know.
women.
A young
Um,
girl singing in her hairbrush, you know?
exactly. So you never know. You just have to believe in yourself. And for Tyler, it's the same thing. He was, in his car. He was sleeping on friends' couches. He had run out of money, but he wasn't giving up on himself. And that's the thing. You gotta really
Don't give up.
support you first, believe in you. And this job for me was all God. I wasn't looking. I didn't call to try and get it. I was contacted. And you look at your life, and I could have tried to get a job over here. And I had
Mm-hmm.
years ago. I called, I interviewed for things, and never were they available for
I
me. I
like to
mean,
call it a
timing,
God wink because
right.
you've
The
done all the
timing was
right
never right.
things. Yeah,
But
you've done all the right things to earn this position, and then God just had to open the door at the
he
right
said,
time.
"Here we go. You've
Hmm.
learned your lessons. You've paid your dues."
You're ready for
And as
this.
it worked out, my contract was up. I didn't have to fight a contract. I didn't,
Perfect time,
never is it like that. The timing is never that perfect. So
especially in your
I
industry.
know it was all the man upstairs, and I pay homage. I
I
respect.
love
I thank. Um, and I try to continue to spread that word that you have to believe in something greater than yourself. It's not all
man.
about you.
As a
And you're not getting the things you get in your life because of you.
amen.
This is all heaven sent, and you need to appreciate it. You need to speak out about it. You need to just
Amen.
encourage other people that they need to believe,
Yeah,
and just
I
let
love that.
everything else go. It's out of your
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah, let go and let God. Jesus take the wheel for sure because, I'm glad he's in control. He's the pilot, not the co-pilot of my life because I don't want all that pressure. And so I'm saying, first and foremost, your faith has really helped you be successful and have a life and have love and have all the things, even when things are going bad, it kept you going. Resilience, never giving up, building relationships, being a kind person because I believe what goes around comes around. And God's timing is everything. God's timing isn't our timing. And what you just said with this job you have now reminds me of the TEDx talk that I just did. I wasn't looking for that. I never even thought I had a
I
TEDx
remember
speech
that.
ready.
Yeah,
I've
you were
never
so fired up.
I never looked at it. That was a God wink. And it happened right before the pandemic. We were supposed to go on the red dot May 2020. And the pandemic happened and it got shut down. I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't meant to be. But I knew it was. I just knew it was getting delayed. Then the following year, they were going to do it via Zoom. I said, TEDx is such a big deal. I don't want to Zoom this. I want to walk on that red dot. And I still had no idea what I was going to say. I hired a speechwriter, but again, I didn't seek it out of self-doubt that I'm not a TED Talk speaker. I'm an inspirational speaker. I'm a TV show host type. What do I have that's a new idea? But God knew there was something that He was going to pull out. And I hired the right speechwriter to pull out what was a TEDx story out of my life. And I memorized it. I don't even think I can memorize anymore after chemo menopause. Like, do I still have a memory? And it all worked out. And that was the God wink of the most amazing thing just happened a few months ago that I didn't seek out. So like your job here, when it's all meant to be, I was able to walk on the red dot and have that happen. And to God be the glory for sure. For sure.
What we always think is right for us, what we always want, is not always.
I always had a better idea. I thought I was going to do a little show and tell good stories about nonprofits. God says, here's an Emmy for hugging tigers and lions and bears. Oh my, who knew? So go for your dreams, one foot in front of the other, be resilient.
And Aurea, that's the big thing now, is good news. People get sick of all the bad, sour news. You had a vision those many years ago, and guess what? That's what people are doing now.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad they are, because we need to be uplifted so much more. And I believe we still need the news. I watch your newscast, WSB, every single day, so I stay updated. Because the one day I didn't watch the news was 9/11.
Oh.
And so I've never missed a news since. I don't watch all day. I've got to just make sure nothing is happening major. So I stay, and then I go on with my day. But that was a day I didn't watch the news that one day. And my daughter's calling me from school. So that's always in me. I need to, and that's always WSB. I turn on my channel too, and I'm watching Fred, I'm watching George, and soon to be watching you. And I get my news, and I make sure, I'll pop it back on at noon and then at 5, just to make sure, because today's day, there's always something going on in Atlanta. Things we need to know about, safety-wise and good news-wise, events, all the things. So, Karyn, it's been a pleasure. I got to ask you our last roundup question.
It's a pleasure, and it's funny for folks that are looking, and you can see behind me, it's a pretty empty newsroom right now. It's because now with the pandemic, most people are working out of the newsroom. They don't come in. They, get their stories from, on the phone when we have our first meeting, and then they head out to their stories. So we really don't see them. They do everything out in the field.
Oh my gosh, interesting. Well, the pandemic has changed a lot of things. So we're good. Well, what is your legacy, Karyn, as we close up the show? Last but not least, how do you want to be remembered?
I would hope people remember me as kind, very helpful, and always ready to lend a hand. It's funny, I am sitting right next to a person who, she's not here now, but Lori Wilson was an intern with me.
Lori.
She was an intern at Channel 46. And when she was wrapping up her internship, she said, I need a job. Where can I work? I was like, you know what? I still know the news director from my old station. Let me call her. And I called her. She started working there. Lori has gone on to have a fabulous career in Philadelphia. She is now the morning anchor here at WSB, and she's fabulous. I would want people to remember me as that person that was always there for everybody. That I never turned my nose up or said, I can't help you. I just don't want to be that person. So I just hope people have kind things to say about me as part of my legacy.
Well, that's already done. Done. You are living a legacy. You are not done yet. We love you so much. You're so beloved. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule in the middle of the day when anything could happen in the news. And you said yes to me to come on here. Thank you.
Oh, they're looking. Let me tell you. They're looking at me. What is she doing?
Burden down right at this moment in time. So thank you for that, Karyn. Karyn, I hope everybody looks you up. Google Karyn Greer, WSB, CBS, but she's amazing. ABC, excuse me. WSB, ABC. You are going to be
Action News. I hope to see you all in the fall.
All in the fall. Thank you, Karyn. And from Get Celebritized, this is Aurea McGarry. Over and out until next time. We love to help you earn more.